Welcome to Quit to Win, the show where we explore the moment people have to let go of destructive pattern, limiting identity, and the internal battle to rebuild their life with purpose and clarity. Our today's guest is Shakti Sharma, founder of Family Weight Movement, a former 12 years corporate strategy across finance, service, management, consulting, and investment banking. And the woman who built her first business to six figures in 15 months and has since scaled to over $600,000 while helping more than 1,200 clients transform their relationship with money, self, and business. Shakti left corporates not because of a crisis, but because the alternate paths excite her more. The clarity became the foundation of everything she has built. It's really a pleasure and honor having the show, Shakti.
Thank you for having me on your show, Danaya. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you, Shakti. So, Shakti, you spent 12 years in investment banking and strategy. From the outside, it looked success. What was it actually costing you on the inside?
Wow. Okay. Well, there was something really big costing on the inside. So what happened was I will take you with me on this journey in this moment of my life back in 2014. I was at this wonderful crossroad. It was like this. And on one end, I had just finished my MBA from University of Chicago Booth School of Business, one of the top schools in the world for business school. And I was able to leverage my MBA to get a job in management consulting. So I got what I wanted and I was living the lifestyle. That means I was flying every single week to client sites. Every single Monday morning, I would wake up, take a flight, fly to the next client location, rack up all these airline miles, and spend the day working and then go to really good restaurants every evening with my team, have dinner, and really enjoying this freedom, this travel based experiences that came my way. And on this side, on one side, this was happening. On the other side, I was pregnant. I was 8 months pregnant, a month away from having my baby. I was married to my soulmate, living in Chicago downtown, like really having the best of both worlds. And in that moment, something happened, a silly argument with my partner that really pushed me to this like edge of pain. This is how it started, right? And I just couldn't sleep that night. The whole night. It was in March. I couldn't sleep. We had an argument in the evening. Then throughout the night, I couldn't sleep being pregnant. And next morning, I got up at like 5 in the morning, got out of bed, packed my bags, and left my home. I was just so much in pain and I didn't even understand why, because on the outside, that conversation, that argument wasn't even an argument. It wasn't even something anybody did to me, but inside me, I was like really exploding in pain. So I go in, check into a hotel, thanks to all the hotel points. I checked into a hotel, closed my door, and I cried. And I cried and cried and cried, and just hours go by. I'm just like crying and just letting go. And it was a very painful moment because I was questioning a lot of things about what truly happiness is, because I was at this point in my life and career where I had checked all the boxes, where I did what everybody told me what you need to do to be happy in
Yeah.
life. And I was questioning, like, I'm about to bring a child in this world, but how do I do that when I am myself not happy? How do I be a mother and give to another human being when I am inside, like, feeling just discontent? So a lot of like this all these emotions came up, and it really felt like before that moment, I never gave myself permission to feel so safe and to like really have my emotions. And that was really healing in that moment. But what really happened was something miraculous. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm crying and I'm like in my messy tears, okay? And all of a sudden, it's like a part of my brain got activated. It's hard to really explain, but there's like a voice inside me that almost like activated, opened up. And this part of me started talking to me. And she's almost had this mothering quality to her, this like calming, comforting quality to her. And she kept talking to me every time I would be in my messy cry and like wiping my tears, like, I can't believe this happened. And he said this. And this voice would say, well, your parents never had a happy marriage. And these are patterns that are passed
Mm.
down generation after generation. Like, wow, okay. Then I was like, well, I did everything, in my career and I'm still not fulfilled. There was this like deep void in my heart, like void of like, I don't know, like, should I celebrate? Can I
Yeah.
celebrate what I've done? All the accomplishments? And this voice said, well, you feel empty in your heart because you have abandoned your heart in the pursuit of your success.
Mm.
And these were the truth bombs that kept being dropped inside me. Somehow it was comforting, but because I had answers this time, but it was still like my reality was like shaken up to its core. And this voice kept telling me that create success from your heart and learn the art of intuition. Hone in this connection with me more. And this is where my moment of awakening, my moment of really coming out of my slumber through the pain to realize what is truly important in life. And that moment changed my whole career trajectory. I didn't leave corporate right then and there, but what I did, I just couldn't like deny this voice inside me. I started learning the art of intuition, how to connect to myself better, and started working with clients at that point. And a few years later, in 2018, I took the leap from corporate into entrepreneurship to do my business full time.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. A whole lot here having to kind of, think
A
about it.
lot.
Yeah, a really, really whole lot. And thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so you left because you felt more excited about what was possible elsewhere, not because you were desperate. What does it take out to trust excitement as a good enough reasons to quit something prestigious?
Yeah, it was, I think for me, going back to that moment, the voice made it super clear. If I carried forward on this path, it is going to bring me a lot of hustle, a lot of busyness, a lot of running around, which part of me enjoyed, but not at the expense of abandoning my heart, not at the expense of kind of leaving my heart behind. And that was my moment. And I was at a very good place in my career. At that point, I was working at Wells Fargo. My job was really good. I was getting a lot of visibility, recognition in that role. So there was no desperation to leave. But you know how sometimes in life you outgrow the current reality?
Yeah.
And you're outgrowing it, and what happens in that moment without you even trying, the reality starts to reorganize itself so that it can create different type of opportunities for you so that the experiences are more fulfilling in my case. And that is exactly what happened, and I really trusted that process. It's like when you hear this voice inside you, it's like all noise fades away, right? Like all that mental chatter fades away. And there's only one thing, and that is truth. And you just follow the
Yeah.
truth, and it becomes easy and easy from there.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, having that as more like a basis of making decision. It's really lovely being that, yeah, in here, your body and your soul, everything was intense towards what you could do differently. Yeah, it's really amazing. So six figure in 15 months from a standing start. What was the mindset that made that possible? And what did you have to quit believing about how long success was supposed to take?
I think for me, the biggest turning point in my whole story has been trusting myself so deeply, because I will tell you, I wasn't somebody who trusted herself easily. I trusted other people. I put everybody else on a pedestal and looked at everyone else to get the cues and the signals around what I need to do. And that means I was fulfilling everybody's expectations through and through. And this was the biggest pattern of my life. This is how I was in relationship with my parents. This is how I was in relationship with my partner. This is how I was in relationship with my managers, my team. I was so good at really assessing very silently. This happened like at a subconscious level, understanding what people need from me and giving them that. And this left really no space for me to get to know my agency, this kind of decision making agency that you are so internally clear on what is it that you want. And that is a skill that turned around everything for me. From that point, I started really trusting myself so big and forgiving everybody and myself when they couldn't trust me, right? Because the patterns, and started having my vision. Once I had my vision, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whether it's being a mother, whether it's like marriage, whether it's a job, and everything else became easy, because when I knew what I want from what I'm working on, then it became a matter of speaking that with my conviction. And somehow when I spoke with my conviction, everybody else started respecting me. And that's kind of the respect I never had in my whole life. So this is what fueled my growth, because, I opened a brick and mortar business and started understanding some of the capacity constraints that the business was hitting. And I started really going in my delusion about it, in the sense like not getting so hung up on what the constraint is, but starting to dream bigger and bigger. And I have a really cool story here. So we had a yoga and healing studio in Fremont, California in US. And I started dreaming that maybe there is a space somewhere close to us that becomes available. And within a matter of months, the space next door, the business next door, went out of business, and they had to liquidate and they had to close down their doors. And that was like, wow, I was just dreaming about a possibility like this, and then it happened. So I quickly called my landlord, like who I was leasing the unit from, and he also was a landlord of the other unit that became available. And I called him like, Alan, I heard that the business is closing next door. Have you found somebody to lease the place? And Alan, being in his world, I knew what I wanted in my vision, right? Alan being, in his own, process and his own preferences, he's like, yeah, there's a brewery business that wants to come in. So I'm like working with them to lease this place, and I'll bring somebody here who will be selling beers. And I'm like, Alan, we are a yoga studio and a healing center. People drinking beer outside may not work the best for my business, but I understand and respect the process you're going through. So keep me posted. Well, guess what? Within a matter of weeks, he calls me back and says, Shakti, unfortunately, the city of Fremont did not give them the license they need to operate their business. So they don't have the business permit. So that means they cannot lease the space. Do you know anyone who's interested? And that's it. My moment right there. I was like, Alan, I would love to have a conversation with you and see if we can potentially make this work. So after that, again, expanding to another space means I have to pay the rent for this other space too. From a business that was already constrained by capacity, that was not the smartest move, right? But I went into this conversation and had a great conversation with him. And in that conversation, he says, Shakti, I'm going to get this place renovated for you. That means you don't have to pay a single dime. I'll get it painted. I'll change the floor to make it suitable for your business. I will change the fans, the lights, everything you need to get it ready for you. All you gotta do is just move in and do your business here. And I'm like, wow, this is like way better than anything my mind could have strategized. So I go in, And now my other problem was how to bring more people in the door. So I started with a whole campaign around rebranding my business, really speaking to what people needed, created a free event, offered them an exceptional experience, and then sold my membership right off the bat. And this is exactly how I quantum leaped to a business that wasn't even producing enough income to cover the cost to a business now that was thriving.
Amazing.
And it all started from the voice of my intuition.
Amazing. Trusting your intuition. Yeah, and germinating it come to pass. Yeah, amazing. So you say making money and keeping it are two completely different skills, and you are honest enough to admit that you're still working on the second one. Why does that honesty matter so much in the space full of highlighted reels?
Well, I think we're all, as business owners, constantly working on up leveling our money game and also like holding a strong relationship with money. A lot of times we have beliefs that are passed down. We have all seen our dads working, right? And generations before us had to struggle for many different reasons. Our ancestors had struggle in them, for other reasons. And we're still dismantling a lot of those beliefs that are passed down around money. So one thing that showed up for me in this journey is, I became really good at paying other people and taking everybody's responsibility, but not really allowing myself to receive the payments and the money that wanted to come my way. So it took me a lot to break that down. It actually also took a lot of external circumstances. For example, during the pandemic, my business got shut down. It was a brick and mortar business, and we had the longest kind of shutdown in California during the time of COVID. So I had to close my business down, come out of it, again, restored my relationship with the spirit inside me. She kept telling me, Shakti, it's time to take your work deeper. And all of this breakdown is, again, reality rearranging yourself to the next level you're calling forward. And my next level really included receiving, like deeply receiving in my heart, so that I feel fulfilled on all levels and I get to serve my clients from that place of overflow rather than not my needs met and constantly feeling depleted from there.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, for sharing the fact that at first you're paying all of that first before you even get to pay this right. Over time, you get to learn and do things differently. Amazing. So your clients are landing six-figure contract. The ones thought were impossible. For someone like them, what is the belief that make women undercharge and what break it?
So my clients want to be successful. They care about money and they care about financial equality a lot. It hasn't been easy for women to be successful. And if you are a woman of color, there are whole different sets of cultural beliefs that you're navigating day after day. But what I have realized is that a lot of women sometimes repel success very unconsciously because of a lot of beliefs that success has to take a lot of like hustle, hard work, sales have to take, pushing people to buy all these like sleazy tactics for convincing people to buy. Then I have other clients who also repel very unconsciously their own visibility, their right to be seen in their mastery, because they are bogged down by all these unsaid rules in the industry that you have to post 5 times a day on social media and constantly or put yourself out there completely. And we dismantle those beliefs by doing subconscious work, really starting to rewire our subconscious brain and our body to be able to hold more success, more visibility, more influence. And all of that allows them to create success on their terms. So we really work on centering on our truth. Kind of the recipe that worked for me. I think I'm going to die on that hill. You can create anything you want, anything. We're constantly manifesting our reality second by second. And when we do it with in connection with our truth, we have the opportunity to creating a change. And in those moments, you're not even quitting. You're allowing a bigger vision to really take the center stage of your life, to really lead you with, and you create success in a more easier way. And that formula has really worked very well for me every stage of my career and also for my clients.
Amazing, amazing. Pedigree actually more like, yeah, in a way, women are somehow, yeah, not being confident and going all out for, yeah, and just having this change of mindset, just change a whole lot of different things. It's really amazing. Thank you very much for sharing.
I want to add, even when we think we're not being good, that is not a conclusion. That is an invitation to be curious on why we have this thought, and starting to replace this thought with a new belief, with a new story, with a new evidence of how you have been good and exceptional in what you do, with a new, like really an invitation to creating a new reality there. So those thoughts that people say don't think are exactly the thoughts I invite in my spaces. Those thoughts are actually the right initiation, the right path to go through and your own initiation to step into more and more of your own power.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So you describe weights for women as mindset, strategy,
Yep.
sales
Yep.
confidence, and designing a life that feel like freedom, not just number. What does financial freedom actually feel like for you personally beyond the
Oh
revenue?
my gosh. I'm so happy you asked me this question because I'm just so giddy and excited to share. It took a lot of really intentional creation and making choices in my own life that were very intentional, aligned with my truth. So what happened was that I actually moved away from the city and I moved to the forest in California. It's called Tahoe National Forest. And I purchased this 320-acre piece of land where I host my retreats now. And this is heavenly, really heavenly, because every time you open the window, you hear the river flowing in the background. And you climb the mountains and you hike up, you go to this like soul summit point where there's nothing around you and you scream and you hear the echo back. And it's so empowering experience. This is my life, what I've created here. There are 2 creeks on the land, very strong energy vortex. I have 2 kids. I homeschool them. And really the day is not about how much I achieve, but it's really about how much my body gets to feel rested, how much my body gets to feel in pleasure, how much connection I get to share with my kids, how much play I get to have, and letting that to be the foundation that fuels the business growth. For example, last 3 days, I didn't get much work done. Every time I wanted to get work done, I felt this like very blank, like feeling in my head, like almost like staring at the screen. And it's like, it happened once, it happened twice. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do anything that my body's not ready for. So I took some time off, spent more time with my kids. And what happened 3 days later, all of a sudden I had this idea to create a new offer, a $50,000 offer, create a juicy experience to support that, to support my clients, create their own premium 6-figure offers. And this is the answer. And my soul was so lit up. My excitement level was, to the top of the roof, all cylinders firing, like really the fire in my belly was activated. Sometimes we need these moments of recalibrating our inside system of us so that what is created is even better and better and better and better. And this is the foundation of the feminine wealth system.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your own internal monologue. What is the most common money block holding women back? And what does it take to actually break it rather than just understand it intellectually?
The biggest one, and every time I do this with my clients, they end up signing a client. They start getting client inquiries right away, is about self-worth. Our worthiness that sits in our heart is really important. This is connected to our self-esteem, How worthy do we feel to receive success, to receive clients, to receive income? And this is a big one because I've noticed working with clients all these years, even with clients who were not working with me on making more money, but they were working with me on their marriages, their relationships. And I realized that so often in our lives, we don't value what we bring to the table. We don't actually fully see our own magnificence and the value that our work holds in transforming people's lives. So what we do instead, we send these like emails and messages, half believing in the power of our work. And what happens when you send, you do outreach, half belief, half conviction in your own work, it creates half results. So it's really important part of the prep before you do your outreach, before you speak to a potential clients, before even you show up to your own clients, before you show up to your husband, your partner, your wife, your kids, is that you really believe in yourself, in the value of what you bring to that relationship. And for me, that has been one of the biggest and fastest lever in kind of opening that flow of money, love, and connection, trust. That has been the game changer. And I think the one of the fastest way to do it is, turning on some music in the background, some really soothing music, and letting yourself feel how your self-worth is in that moment. Because when you're feeling it, you're recognizing it, you're acknowledging it, and you're also letting go in that process.
Yeah.
And then reminding yourself how much life-changing your work is for the world.
Thank you so much, Shakti. This has really been amazing. So, for my audience who would love to reach out to you and connect with you and follow you across platform too, how can they reach out and where is the best platform?
Yeah, I actually would love to connect with those who listen to this episode. I have a Facebook group called the Feminine Wealth Collective, and I can drop the link to that community. And in this community is for women who are doing like really rewriting the rules of success in a new way, really creating a new paradigm of wealth and money where women are equal. And I offer tons of free trainings here very regularly where I share with you a way to create your premium offers and how do you market and sell them? How do you really step into such deep conviction of your value and lead with your self-worth, really letting your vision guide your success forward? And I would love to invite you to my community.
Shakti, thank you for the reminder that weights for women is not just about number, but about designing a life that actually feel like freedom. Is one this audience, was going to go. Remember, making money and keeping it are different skills, and both are learnable. Once again, a pleasure and honor. Have a show, Shakti.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed this conversation.